When a beautiful girl sings the blues, it can raise the temperature a few degrees. And often the beer that's used to cool things off again is Rheingold extra dry.
I showed the corporate world where they could make money. I said, black is profitable, and let's go that way. And that's where I went. That's the way I went. And they made money, 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 money.
When you're having company, serve a modern buffet supper. It's the smart, easy way to entertain. Makes for a relaxed hostess, and a relaxed hostess makes for relaxed guests. All you have to do is see to it that the food is light and, appealing. Like most modern people...
Timing is everything, and the real breakthrough wasn't long in coming. Ophelia DeVore discovered a black model who had the skin color and features which would allow her to cross over into the mainstream market.
They loved her. She was elegant, lovely, fit into the clothes. She had style, she had grace.
Her features are so incredible. I mean, she had that real pointed nose, you know, that marvelous nose, that alkaline kind of nose that they associate with white. She didn't have what was typical of a black or a negroid feature. She didn't have those big full lips. She didn't have a big wide nose, you know. She looked like a white girl who happened to be chocolate brown. Pretty as she could be. And they loved it. It was a great look. It was fabulous.
When Helen Williams first appeared advertising products in black magazines, she caused a sensation.
In those days, they did back covers with cigarette accounts and different beverages. So they used me, and then word got out, who is she? We want to know who this model is that you're using. And that's how we really got started.
C'est si bon de partir n'importe où, bras dessous, bras dessous, en chantant des chansons. C'est si bon.
Like others before her, Helen Williams was invited to Paris and was amazed by the reception.
We went to Paris, Christian Dior and Jean de Cesse, to show in the showroom the clothing to the public and to see what the response was going to be. And there I was, you know, Quebec American, you know, they just loved me, they ate me up. And it was a different type feeling when I was working in Paris.
Back in America, Helen Williams was also in demand by white magazines.
After a while, when they look at somebody like Helen Williams and see that she's elegant no matter what color she is, then industry lets the guard down, and then they start taking someone who fits the creative idea, I guess, more accurately than just the color alone.
It improved as the media saw that there is a place for fashion and dark-skinned women, because more of the models came forward and started modeling and did fashion shows and cosmetics and different ads. So I sort of opened the door for them, and it made it easier.
And the doors that had opened for Helen Williams in the fashion world were now about to open for a series of black acts in the music world. In Detroit, a young businessman called Gordy began to gather local music acts under the record label Motown.
When it's cold outside, I've got the month of May.
Black acts like Chuck Berry and Little Richard had reached sections of the white public, but none of them had blanket appeal. The market that everyone wanted was the white teenagers who were buying records by Bill Haley and the Comets, the Everly Brothers, Buddy Holly. Gordy devised a way of breaking into that market by taking the look and style of white stars and molding them into performers who would cross over into the mainstream white market. One of the early groups Gordy experimented with was George Clinton and the Parliaments.
It was important that you stayed cool. It was important that you stayed so cool. I mean, that's the first time I've seen guys getting their nails done, powder puffs. I mean, it was so close to being girlish, you know, that it was it's super cool to have. And everybody thought that they were the top of the era of black being glamorous to the point of whiter than white.
Then Gordy took the girl next door image of Doris Day and the Maguire sisters to turn a group of 3 black girls into international icons.
We were so very young at the age of 16, and we were very skinny. So in order to be older, to appear sexier and all these things, we decided to enhance our boobs. Today people have money to, go and get the operation. We didn't have that. So we just stuffed tissue into stuffed tissue into our bras to make ourselves more endowed. And I remember once I was in the lobby of Motown, and a bunch of people, Mary Wells, Marvin Gaye, and people just standing around. And someone came up and stuck a pin in my butt, because everyone knew I was so skinny. And then this one day I had put on this false booties. And they knew it, they knew this, that all of a sudden I'm curvaceous, whereas before I was flat. I realized the importance of, okay, I got to make sure I have my eyebrows on right, got to have my lipstick on right, got all these things you got to do right, your hair, and you got to know what dresses to wear. And I guess at that point, of us starting to wear beautiful gowns and picking out what really fit our figures best and what kind of hair to wear, what kind of wigs to wear, that was a time of sort of acknowledging what beauty meant. And how important it is, especially to entertainers. So everything matched. The earrings match, the shoes match, the gown match. And so we did pay a lot of attention to our outer image.
But it went beyond physical beauty. At Motown's very own etiquette school, Maxine Powell taught its artists class and manners, everything they needed to be acceptable to white homes.
I showed them how to develop style by being chic, smart, stunning, and elegant. That is not money. That is something that is taught. I worked with the Temptations, Smokey Robinson and the Miracles, Stevie. I didn't do anything for Stevie. He was always beautiful. Marvin Gaye, Tammy Terrell, Martha and the Vandellas, the Supremes. I said, but you're going to be trained to appear in places around the world, and even before the Queen and also the President of the United States. Those youngsters looked at me and laughed and said, that woman's crazy. All we want is a hit record. They didn't have the vision. They were diamonds in the rough.
One of the things that she always said is that one day you're going to be performing before kings and queens. And we're like laughing like, yeah, right. Sure. Here we are. We're living in the projects. We're poor, we're black. And as I said, it was a time when for black people to dare to dream was a big thing, So anyway, we laughed at her. But we still went to the classes and we still learned everything that she put out there.
Can't sing like you're in pain. Instead of baby love, baby love. I said, what are you doing? Oh, we're singing, Miss Powell. I said, and you're also making faces. And then they would say, well, I'm feeling it, I'm souling. I said, well, you're going to have to sing pleasant. You're talking about a baby, baby love, baby love. What kind of baby is that makes you make those ugly faces? So baby, you're thinking of a great unique human being, and it has to be pleasant, so you will do that. And when you make a high note, you're not going to make an ugly face. Wah! No.
She was responsible for giving us the importance of your physical body, your importance of your presence.
Your hip bone should always be forward. You never protrude the buttocks, never. Say, even when you're dancing, it's rolled under, it's rolled under, it's rolled under, it's rolled under. You don't pop your fingers, it's common. See, it's smiling and whatnot.
to hold you once again, my love. Feel your warm embrace, my love.
This is funny. Mrs. Powell taught us how to get in and out of a limo. Well, in those days, we didn't even have a car, so a limo was really far-fetched.
You stand in the basic standing position first, because you stand that way the rest of your life.
She would show us how most people would enter a car, which is you would get in there and your rear would stick up. And she said, now, you see, this looks really ridiculous. And she would show us a way to slide in.
The buttocks touches the seat. And you slide the left foot over the right foot, and then take your hand and adjust in the car. You take your hand and adjust yourself. See? Across.
And she said there would be a photographer here, so when you slide in the door, and before you close the door, you just gave him a little smile like that, right? After the class that day, we saw Mrs. Powell getting into her car. And we're, like I said, we're young teenagers, silly girls. And she got in the way she had told us not to get into it. And we fell out. I mean, it was just the funniest thing. But the lesson was learned. And we found out she had done that so that we could see what it really looked like when someone's just there. And she said, now, if you take a picture of that, what does that look like? So use your imagination.
Black men and women had taken what they needed from the white beauty standard, adapted it, made it their own, and showed it off on a world stage. Berry Gordy made a calculated and commercial decision to package his acts with the white beauty ideal and sell them back to the white record-buying public. It was pure genius, pure Motown.